We're winding down and wrapping up this unit on making terrific transformations. We've already learned how we can establish a pattern of behavior, especially with how we think. We've established that if we regularly associate negative emotions to a specific subject, or school in general, the stronger that pattern will be imprinted in our minds. We also reviewed how we want to make a habit of engaging our PFC, or prefrontal cortex, by stopping and thinking before we act. Remember, your mind is extremely adaptive at this point, and under construction, it's growing. So here's a key point. What you do now, the mental habits and patterns you create now, will only deepen and grow stronger. We want to make you aware of one final piece of vital information about your transformational years. Your PFC, the area of logic and moral right and wrong, works very closely with the limbic system. The limbic system, and particularly the amygdala, are in control of your emotions. During your years of transformation, while both the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala are growing, they can either battle for supremacy or learn to cooperate together as partners. Obviously, if they learn to cooperate, they will benefit you greatly as you get older and will contribute to your overall success and happiness in life. But how can you make sure they get along rather than compete? First, let's just examine why it's in your best interest to help these two regions to get along. If you try too hard to keep your emotions suppressed, that is, you neglect and ignore your amygdala, several things can happen. Number 1, you can keep strong emotions like anger and frustration bottled up inside, which can cause stress and anxiety. Number 2, you can keep emotions like sadness and disappointment inside, which can cause stress and depression. Number 3, or you can learn how to shut your feelings down, not only for yourself, but toward others. If this happens, you'll have a difficult time making friends and building relationships. On the other hand, if you ignore your amygdala and ignore your prefrontal cortex, what could be the result? Number 1, you could act on every impulse of anger and frustration and do things that you regret, or alienate your friends and family. Number 2, you can become overwhelmed with feelings of sadness and disappointment and do something you regret, or alienate your friends and family. Number 3, or you allow yourself to be dominated by your emotions and live your life without thinking about consequences. So you can see why it's important to help these two growing regions get along. How can you do this? By making sure both parts know they have a role in your life. When situations occur, try to follow the pattern of stopping to use your PFC first. Then use your amygdala to really identify and understand how you feel. Then, together, allow these two very different regions of your brain to make a decision on how best to react. Again, in this time of terrific transformations, the patterns you establish now will grow stronger and more influential in your life. If you learn to engage both your PFC and limbic system, which includes your amygdala, before you act or speak, you will become someone who is not only super successful in school, work, and life, but someone who is also truly happy.